Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on yet another conversation with. Today we're joined by Joshua Jacobs, who is going to give us great perspective as a franchisor in the category. And as we turn these conversations, and you can see the pivoting, I hate that word, but you see the pivoting happening where we're now going into recovery and what does it look like? And so Charles and I have started discussing what does the great return look like. So Joshua, I would love, obviously, frame the business, but talk about what happens afterwards for a company like yours and how you are preparing as a leader to get you guys there.
So TGA Premier Sports, we run programs mainly in after-school settings at schools, at community centers, churches, temples, anywhere that we can bring sports and make them available and accessible to the general public. That's the crux of what we do. We really want to be the go-to place to introduce students and families to sport. And from there, we have our player pathway, and we then have camps and clinics and family events, and we engage them in more of a recreational setting. In this time, for us, it certainly has been challenging because we've had to pivot, not being able to run any programs. So we went to an online platform to ensure that we continued our mission of changing lives through sports during COVID. So we had to abruptly pivot, and we offered 6 weeks of free online programming, and our curriculum was very conducive to that. It was already currently station based, so we had the content, and then we added in kind of what we're known for, and that's we were the first youth sports program to incorporate STEAM into programs as it relates to the sport. So we have these science, technology, engineering, art, and math labs that we coupled with it. So parents were not only getting the physical, but they were also getting the academic portion of it as well. For us, what we see coming out of this, I'm very bullish because first of all, we specialize in golf and tennis. That's really what differentiates us, the individualistic sports. We figured out how to make them available and accessible anywhere. In fact, one of TGA's first 6 programs in Los Angeles in 2003, I had 17 kids sign up in a hallway to learn golf. So I kind of knew that there was an opportunity to expand that out. But for us, the individualistic sports, just because they're inherent in nature to social distancing, more individualized, we're very bullish on them coming forward. And then also from a franchising aspect, we thrive kind of in a down economy. And I think from a jobs perspective, that's where we're headed. We sold more franchises between 2008 and 2012 than we have 2013 to present. So we're excited about the future. We're cautiously optimistic about making sure that we keep our families and kids safe. But overall, I'm excited about where we can take this.
So Josh, as this happened, right, we go into this dip. What was the experience like in terms of shutting down? What's going on with your franchisees as you go through this process? And then ultimately, are we at a bottoming out? And what's the plan as you guys ramp back up?
Unfortunately, I can't answer that question. I don't know if we're going to bottom out. I think the experts are predicting that we're going to have another situation in fall and potentially through winter. I think that we are well positioned for our customers to be able to provide online experiences and content. And as things start opening up, I mean, look at golf. Golf is kind of the first sport to rebound in this. Well, I guess we could say during COVID, but it's kind of hopefully moving towards post-COVID. Golf is the first sport to rebound, and I heard 100% of golf courses around the country will be open within the next 22 days, so after May. And that gives us a great opportunity to resume summer programs and then see where we lie in the fall with after-school programs based on what districts and schools are putting into play for safety.
It's fascinating, just the parallel with sports. I mean, with golf, thank God it's going to be social distancing because I can cheat on my golf score and get it down, and nobody will know. But
I've heard some crazy stories that there are more people who are trying golf right now just simply because it's one of the only activities that you can do outside. So I've heard a couple horror stories about people who own homes on golf courses, and the houses are getting hit because these people have no idea what they're doing. And it's I think there's a great opportunity for the golf and the tennis industries in the future.
So, and I want your opinion on this, both as a business expert and then obviously in the category that you're in. So one of the arguments to, let's say, private schools right now is that with all education moving online, it might diminish some of the rising costs of the private school standpoint. In your field, like, you're still, like, there's expertise that has to go into being good at sports, and kids are still going to want to learn it. So you're probably, like, the pivoting that you've done as a business probably is conducive to what the parents actually want. So there could be a play there. And the reality is there are plenty of videos on how to teach your kid how to golf already on YouTube. So it was like, there was already content on there. It's still like the personalized attention to the game that you're able to promote. And then, so just some general thoughts on, do you see online disrupting other businesses that actually end up being beneficial to you as well?
I see online as being a complement to what the in-person businesses do. I think that there's tremendous opportunity to extend the player pathway through online content, but I don't feel that it will ever replace in person. I mean, even with golf, you talk about the online content. Yeah, absolutely. There's hundreds of thousands of videos out there teaching you how to play golf, but you don't know if you're doing it right. You don't have that feedback. So I still see in-person being vital to the success of whether it's our business or any golf business in the future.
Josh, so your franchisees, they don't have physical locations, right? They can operate from home?
Correct. They're home-based businesses. Correct.
Right. So that what becomes, I guess, a new dynamic post-COVID is that there really does become a better value proposition for the home-based, enrichment-based businesses like TGA. I mean, do you see that as an advantage as eventually we ease out of this?
I think it depends on the product. Certainly there's an opportunity for home-based businesses to thrive when we come out of this, because if you look at the investment level, it's significantly less than a brick and mortar. So yeah, I think home-based businesses will have a great opportunity to thrive out of this. And then I think if people are looking at buying a franchise, they need to consider what the product is that home-based business is offering in the time that they're going to be acquiring it. I just think TGA is well positioned because parents will never stop spending on kids. I have the ongoing joke that the two industries that thrive during a down economy is alcohol and kids programs. For me, we're fortunate to be in the kids space. We believe sports change lives. That was our motto when we started in 2003. We'll hit our millionth kid. Unfortunately, we had to push it back a little bit, but we'll hit our millionth kid here probably first quarter of 2021 now. And I see a positioning for if you can provide a unique offering during a time and you have a high value proposition during and post COVID, I think you'll be successful.
Have you thought about just adjustments that could happen to sport, period? I mean, I guess the easiest one that I can think of is like e-gaming is considered sport now. But like, you know, the forcing of pivoting and the value of golf still existing, or like I was seeing like car racing's coming back because it's you're distance enough as a sport. There's other things like bowling that might have a run, but do you see other things being invented in a time like this? Does that happen?
Well, yeah, I think anytime you have a fundamental change in the world, I think that there's an entrepreneurial opportunity for people to come up with new businesses with sports. Sure, esports, it wasn't anything new for people to play video games. It was new for people to turn that into an industry and create a pathway for it. The same thing goes with all the sports. I think you're going to see different pathways emerge from from COVID. I think you're going to see some online pathways. I think you're going to see, I think the instruction business will boom because of that, because they're going to need supplemental with the online. And then I think you're going to see sports adjust. I mean, look at golf. Golf, you've got the ability now to have something to auto remove the ball from the hole, hopefully if you get it there in less strokes. And you can have, I'm seeing single person golf carts come out, different ways to ensure that your clubs are clean. With tennis, you're seeing different types of ways to serve without having to share balls. So yeah, I think there's going to be a ton of opportunity for entrepreneurialism to thrive after COVID.
For other franchisors and franchisees out there, Josh, what's been the mindset of your franchisees as they've gone through this? You know, what are you hearing from them in terms of their concerns, how they're dealing with it, how you're helping them, and really where their mindset is right now?
Well, I think first and foremost, we all need to figure out ways to get our haircuts at home. And I think that's no, I'm just kidding. But I think it's been a myriad of emotions with our franchises. They started off being very worried about their business. How are we going to survive without running programs? And we had to really nurture them and to help work with them to show them that there are other pathways with this business than just in person. And with the content that we've created and the curriculum that we have, there are business opportunities left and right for us to be able to continue to service our customers and keep changing lives through sports. So at first it was worry. We had about a little panic from a few franchises, but the most part, people were very understanding that we were all in the same boat. And again, we're very fortunate to be part of the individualistic sport nature. So we've seen golf and tennis start to rise up and start to open quicker than other sports. So I feel as though the last 3 weeks, there's been some positive vibes around the brand, around their businesses, the future, and the opportunity to have their in-person programs thrive with that complement of online programs that we've had to abruptly shift to during COVID.
As an entrepreneur, how do you personally get your mindset into the bullish realm? I mean, there are people that are probably looking at this and look, there are franchisors that are coming out and saying everything's great, and then they get off a conversation like this and they go and hide because they're like, it really isn't that great, and I need to figure out a plan to get here. But you can see, like, you're like, in 2008 we had growth, we see opportunity here. Like, how do you get into that mindset? Is it just naturally a part of who you are as a human, or is there things that you do as a leader to help you get there?
I try to see the positive in every situation. I try to expand our horizons when we see opportunity. And for us, I don't think there's anything special that we're doing right now. I think that the industries that we're in lend for themselves, and our ability to continue our operations and continue the positive vibes that we can send to our franchises, that they can feel. And in a lot of ways, they read the news, they see how our industries are coming back. So, you know, as a leader, I think it's important to have very stable emotions and realize that, you know, every single day our world was turned upside down, basically the second half of March and the first half of April. I think everybody's was, with the different rules and regulations that were being put in place, what was closing down. And I think to be a steady voice for the franchises and to see the big picture in the long run, in the long term, I think was valuable for them. And they gave us their perspective. We instituted town hall meetings at least two times a month, I think 3 times a month, where everyone kind of came together under a certain, just a couple structured bullet points for us to start talking about. And the conversations took it on themselves. The franchises felt like they had a voice. They were there with their HQ team. We heard what they needed. We heard what they wanted. We heard their fears. We heard their successes. Some of them even had successes during this time, which is phenomenal. They took it upon themselves entrepreneurially to do so. I think it was important to involve them in what we were doing and involve them throughout the time of COVID.
You know, I guess fortunately, I guess the resistance and durability to TGA is going to be that golf and tennis, which the real interesting aspect could be you could see a surge of demand as everyone just gets tired of being in lockdown, and children do need instruction. And I would imagine that, like you've said, whether it's a tennis court or a golf course, there is that social distancing. How's the development looked? I mean, have you paused your franchise development, franchise sales? What are you seeing on that front?
Yeah, we did. We paused it. We paused it in, end of February. We saw this coming on. We took a proactive approach here in Los Angeles with our HQ team. So yeah, we paused it in February. It's paused in April. It's paused in May to really create a different narrative, especially knowing where golf and tennis could be coming out of this, but also to see where our business was going to be once this was done, both with online capabilities and resources, in addition to our unique in-person offerings. So yeah, we paused. We'll be creating more resources. I think we're doing it here the second half of May, and we're going to be positioned and ready to go in June. We're getting inquiries already from the general public. I assume some people are out of work, and I think that's what it is, and that's really unfortunate. But it gives us a great opportunity to be able to continue our mission and change lives through sports on a grander scale. And from a business standpoint, I see a lot of opportunity for franchising to thrive post-COVID.
As we take the final spin, Josh, I would just love closing thoughts. How should other people be thinking out there? How should other franchisors be thinking? What are some of your final predictions?
That's a tough one. I think it's just slow and steady wins the race. I really do. I think that this thing can change on a dime, both in terms of local, regional, statewide mandates. You just don't know, and so it's going to be important to be nimble during this time and to be able to pivot when you need to, and be flexible. And that's not just in terms of your business. I think it's also in terms of working with your franchises, working with your customers. It's open to things that haven't been done before in your area by listening to what people need. And I think if you ask the right questions, you'll get the answers that you're looking for and come to a place that you can move your business forward. That's what I would tell any franchisor, any franchisee.
Charles?
I'm always, it's always surprising, right? Because you don't know where the conversations go. But when you stick to fundamentals and do what you care about, there's opportunity. And I would imagine, Josh, that when you combine STEAM and STEM with golf and tennis, you never thought that there may be one day where you could say, hey, we have an advantage in teaching STEAM and STEM because we do it on a golf course and not in a classroom. And you may want that at some date. So,
well, believe it or not, we actually do it in a classroom too, but we do it, for our after school programs. It's done on fields, it's done in gymnasiums, it's done anywhere. It's also done at golf courses. But you've certainly seen a lot of STEM or STEAM franchisors pop up that are concentrating solely on that. And I believe therein lies an opportunity to make it a component of what you do. Especially when you can bring lifelong sports into the mix and a skill that people, you always hear all the time, hey, when did you start to learn golf? 80% of them tell you that they wish they had learned at a younger age. And that therein lies our opportunity.
Well, I think my biggest question, Josh, is going to be, what do you do for that 1 millionth kid come first quarter 2021? Like, what do you do for him?
First of all, I think the TGA branded mask, but I'm not sure yet. We have a number of partners in the mix that want to put something really special together for them and for that family. But it's something that I never thought would be possible. I mean, we started this program at 6 schools in LA in 2003, and I was 26 at the time. So for me, it was just a privilege to be able to teach kids golf in a way that hadn't been done before. And now to have a pretty good player pathway of introductory and recreational programs it's been a passion. I truly believe I grew up playing 4 sports, and I played 4 sports in high school. I played golf in college, but I wish I had played basketball. I played club tennis, and sports can really alter people's lives for the better for a lot of different reasons. And I believe they change lives, and that's why we do what we do. You got to follow that passion.
What does TGA stand for? What did it originally stand for?
So it originally stood for Teen Golf Adventures, believe it or not. The first division of the company when I started it, really quick backstory. I was in New York working for a company. I witnessed 9/11. I saw both planes fly into the towers, and I realized that I wanted to do something else. And my home was LA. That's where my immediate family was. And I came back, and I had thought about this overnight golf camp that incorporated universities, Disneyland, Magic Mountain. It was more than just golf. And everybody said the same thing to me. Like I said, 26, pipe dream. Hey, great concept, wrong business, wrong time. So I had to morph, and I had to evolve very quickly into this after school program. I saw an opportunity. My sister was picking after school programs in a school, and there was no golf. And I'm like, that's interesting. So Teen Golf Adventures morphed into TGA Premier Sports, and TGA now stands for Teach, Grow, Achieve.
Well, look, if push come to shove and the other sports go away, I mean, you have the T for tennis and the G for golf. So Tennis Golf Academy seems like a good pivot.
It could be. It could be. We actually looked into that. We did golf first, and then we went into tennis, and we expanded into 6 other sports. We realized we had the infrastructure to do so, and the other sports, there were other team sports. They weren't being offered with STEAM or STEM. And we saw that as being a unique value proposition to families. And golf and tennis are certainly the crux of what we do. They make us unique. They differentiate us. And to me, that's going to be the bread and butter moving forward.
Okay. Joshua, we appreciate your time. Thank you for giving us some great advice. We wish you the best of luck, and we'll be hearing for you. Look forward to hear where the story goes.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to more of your webinars to watch.
Thanks, Josh. Have a great day.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.